Hey business warriors, Business Shifu here. Now in our last video, we talked about the HEROS Act, that massive $3 trillion piece of stimulus legislation passing the House of Representatives, but the Republican-controlled Senate has basically said that the bill is DOA, dead on arrival. Basically meaning that they may not even vote on it, and even if they do, it won't pass. Now, that may be disappointing for some who are hoping to get their hands on a second $1,200 stimulus check, or hoping to benefit from the enhanced unemployment insurance. That's that extra $600 a week that people who are claiming unemployment get right now. Benefit from that being extended, which is what the HEROS Act does. But don't feel too down and out about it, because the Senate has indicated that they will pass more stimulus legislation as long as it is bipartisan in nature.
We need to be smart and we need to be safe, but we have to find a more sustainable middle ground.
The Trump administration has also said that they are willing to go forward with more stimulus legislation after a break of a few weeks. Just listen to what Kevin Hassett, senior economic advisor to President Trump, had to say on Fox Business this week.
If there are more moves that we have to make, then we're going to try to do that, and we're going to need Democratic votes to do that. And so I think that we stand ready to negotiate moving forward, but it's going to be data-driven, not politics-driven.
So you heard what he said. They need Democratic votes, i.e. they are willing to compromise. Now in this video, I want to take a look at parts of the HEROS Act that do actually have a probability of making it all the way through the Senate and then into the final bill, which will be signed by the president and into law. Yahoo News had an article on this. Many of the points mentioned in it I agree with, and some I don't, but I'll explain my view on it. But first of all, if you are new, please consider subscribing to this channel where I share my financial journey with you and help you with yours. Now, before we get into talking about economic assistance and stimulus checks, there were quite a few things in the HEROS Act that were kind of like joke proposals, and whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, these things just kind of sound stupid when they're said out loud. So things like this.
New annual studies on diversity and inclusion within the cannabis industry. The word cannabis appears in the bill 68 times, more times than the word job.
So all the things like that are obviously not going to make it into a future bill, including things like lifting the limit on state and local tax deduction, which basically helps the rich in high tax states, Democrat states, releasing prisoners due to health concerns. There was stuff about that in there, and also funding for mail-in voting. So these things we don't really need to go into. I think the Democrats just put them in the bill in hopes that the Republicans would negotiate away those things and not touch the things that the Democrats really wanted. So let's actually get serious and talk about what actually might make it in there. First, funding for state and local governments. Now what this means is giving money to states and cities to shore up their budgets because they have been harmed by lower tax revenues due to lower economic activity, because basically every state or almost every state has been shut down. Now, since this is a negotiation, I think some funding for state and local governments will make it in the bill. The Republicans actually promised this to the Democrats last time, that they would do it in the next bill. And the Republicans now also want a payroll tax cut and legal protections for businesses, so they will need to compromise. But I do not think it's going to be anywhere near the $1 trillion that the Democrats have asked for in the HEROS Act. Listen to Kevin Hassett on Fox Business talking about how much is actually needed.
How much is state and local revenue going to go down? Then it seems right now, looking at the numbers, that we've given them already in the first phases of the stimulus more money than the shortfall one would expect to see for the states.
Now, he may be exaggerating the other way because obviously he's part of the Trump administration, but I think it is safe to say that that $1 trillion figure for the aid for state and local governments will be negotiated down quite significantly, but probably will be in a future bill. Next, we have an extension on the enhanced unemployment insurance from the HEROS Act. Now, the enhanced unemployment insurance is that extra $600 a week people who have been claiming unemployment get.
We're going to see more big initial claims for unemployment insurance numbers, and probably an unemployment rate a month from now that's maybe a little bit north of 20%.
An unemployment rate in a month from now, mid-June, of 20%. Now, the current enhancements on the unemployment insurance, that extra $600 a week, ends at the end of July. By then, the unemployment rate may have come down a little bit, but if it's at 20%, it's got a long way to go before it gets back down into normal figures. So rest assured, at the end of July, there's still going to be a lot of people unemployed. So I'm guessing the Republicans will allow this to continue, but they may negotiate it down. Maybe they'll bring it down to extra $300 per week in order to encourage people to get back to work, because now there really are some people who are earning more from unemployment than they were from working. But I do actually think that we will see an extension to those enhanced unemployment benefits. Next, we have an extension to the Paycheck Protection Program. Now, this is the program for small businesses which will fund 2.5 months worth of payroll in the form of a forgivable loan up to $10 million. The loans do not have to be paid back as long as they are used for payroll. Now, I do think this will be extended to the end of the year, like the HEROS Act says, since Republicans, they're all about getting people back to work anyway, so this does sound like the sort of thing that they would choose to support. And even as businesses are reopening, demand is going to be low. For example, there may be many people who've just got used to buying things online and they don't even really want to go to stores until they're 100% sure that the virus is completely gone. So, even as businesses reopen, there may still be lower demand. Next, we have improvements to the employee retention credit. Now, this is another thing for businesses. I'm not going to go into it in great detail, but basically it gave a tax credit for companies retaining workers. It originally came from the CARES Act, the previous massive stimulus bill. But the HEROS Act enhanced it. And finally, we have the second stimulus check. Now, Republicans have not voiced significant opposition to a second stimulus check, which may come as a surprise for some. President Trump did say he opposes recurring monthly payments, or quote, a big distribution, but they've never said that they would oppose another one-off payment. And Republicans have bigger things to worry about in the HEROS Act, like mail-in voting, etc. So I do think you'll see a second stimulus check with a few adjustments. For example, the HEROS Act makes a $1,200 check available to illegal immigrants. I can't see Republicans voting for that. So in terms of cutting things in the act, it's much easier for Republicans to cut funding to state and local governments rather than cutting off those stimulus checks which had been promised to the people in the HEROS Act without hurting their approval ratings. Remember, we are in an election year. But I don't see any of this happening this month.
If we need to spend more money down the road, we'll come back and do that. We're not in a rush to do that this week or next week. We're going to take our time. This is taxpayer money, and we're going to spend it very carefully.
But looking into the month of June, I certainly see many of these things making it into a future bill. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Please leave your comment about what you hope will be in the future stimulus bill in the description below. Don't forget, if you're into stock trading and investing, we have a great deal with Webull. Get 2 free stocks for signing up and funding your account. Link below. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.